8 reasons why most men can't handle an empathetic woman. Most men say they want a deep connection. They say they want a woman who actually cares, who shows up, who loves without holding back. But the moment they find her, the real her, they panic. They run. They sabotage the best thing that ever walked into their life. And here's the brutal truth nobody wants to say out loud. It's not because she was too much. It's because they were too little. An empathetic woman doesn't just enter your life, she enters your soul, and most men aren't ready for that level of truth. 1. She feels what you're hiding. An empathetic woman doesn't need you to confess. She already knows. Before you've opened your mouth, before you found the right words, she has already felt the shift in your energy. She notices when your laugh doesn't reach your eyes. She feels the tension in your silence. She knows the difference between your "I'm fine" and your actual fine. For a man who has spent years hiding behind a tough exterior, this is terrifying. Because for the first time in his life, his armor is useless. She isn't reading your words, she's reading your soul, and most men would rather walk away than face what she sees in them. 2. She loves without a safety net. When an empathetic woman chooses you, she doesn't calculate the risk. She doesn't protect herself with conditions or backup plans. She simply loves you, fully, completely, without a single reservation. In a world where most people keep one foot out the door just in case, her all-in love feels foreign. It feels almost dangerous. A man who has been conditioned to stay guarded doesn't know what to do with a woman who hands him her whole heart without demanding anything in return first. So instead of receiving it, he questions it. He doubts it. He convinces himself that nobody could love this openly without a hidden agenda. And in doing so, he destroys the most genuine thing he's ever been offered. Step 3. She will call out your patterns. Elena Maher, she isn't trying to expose you, but she will. An empathetic woman has spent her entire life studying human behavior, processing emotions, and recognizing cycles. So when she watches you repeat the same self-destructive patterns over and over again, she can't pretend not to see it. She will gently but firmly point out the way you shut down when things get real, the way you deflect when conversations get deep, the way you run every single time something beautiful starts to grow. Most men hear this and feel attacked. What they don't realize is that she isn't criticizing them. She is offering them something incredibly rare, a chance to actually see themselves clearly and change. But growth requires honesty, and honesty requires courage most men haven't built yet. 4. She requires real presence. Showing up physically is not enough for her. She needs you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. An empathetic woman can feel when your body is in the room, but your mind is 1,000 miles away. She can sense when you're checked out during conversations that matter. She feels the disconnection like a physical ache. In today's world of distracted, half-present relationships, this standard feels unreasonably high to most men. They are used to partners who accept whatever version of them shows up. But she won't. Not because she's demanding, but because she knows what real presence feels like and she refuses to accept a hollow substitute. Most men can't meet this standard, not because they're incapable, but because they've never been asked to try. 5. She heals herself without you. Here is where most men get deeply unsettled. An empathetic woman does not need you to fix her. She has already done that work herself. She has sat in her own darkness, processed her own pain, and come out the other side whole. She doesn't bring her trauma to the relationship and hand it to you to carry. She brings her growth. And to a man who has been conditioned to believe that his value comes from being needed, this is a crisis. If she doesn't need saving, what is his role? He mistakes her wholeness for coldness, her self-sufficiency for indifference. He wants to be her hero. But she isn't looking for a hero. She is looking for an equal. And that is a role most men haven't learned to play. I think say, her boundaries are unbreakable. An empathetic woman has learned, often through tremendous pain, exactly where her limits are. And once she sets a boundary, it is not a suggestion. It is a wall. She will not let guilt, manipulation, or emotional pressure move her from what she knows she deserves. For a man who is used to pushing boundaries until they break, This is deeply frustrating. He tries the usual tactics: the guilt trips, the silent treatment, the slow erosion of her standards. But nothing works. She sees every manipulation before it lands, and instead of crumbling, she simply steps back. Most men confuse her firmness for stubbornness. What they are actually experiencing is a woman who has finally learned that her peace is worth protecting at any cost. Seven, she remembers everything, not to punish you, not to build a case against you, but because she is wired to absorb everything deeply. Every promise you made, every time your actions didn't match your words, every moment you showed her who you really were when you thought she wasn't paying attention. An empathetic woman has a memory like still water. Every stone you drop leaves a ripple she can still feel months later. Most men are used to relationships where things are forgotten, swept under the rug, or simply ignored. With her, nothing disappears. It simply becomes data she uses to decide if you are truly safe. Most men find this exhausting. What they don't understand is that she isn't keeping score, she is keeping herself safe. 8. She will walk away with grace. This is the one that breaks men completely, because they expect her relentless love to mean she will stay forever, no matter what. And for a long time, she does stay. She fights. She forgives. She tries in ways that would exhaust a lesser person. But there comes a moment, quiet and certain, when something shifts inside her, when she finally realizes that she has given everything and received nothing close to enough. And in that moment, she doesn't scream. She doesn't beg. She simply closes the door. Gently, permanently. No dramatic exit. No final warning. Just silence. And that silence will follow a man for the rest of his life. Because he will eventually understand that he didn't lose a girlfriend. He lost the one person on this earth who truly saw him, loved him anyway, and still had the strength to choose herself. An empathetic woman is not difficult, she is different. She operates at a frequency that demands your honesty, your presence, and your growth. She will not shrink herself to make you comfortable. She will not dim her light so yours looks brighter. If you cannot rise to meet her, she will not fall to meet you. She's not looking for a perfect man. She's looking for a real one. And if you are brave enough to be that, completely, vulnerably, honestly real, you will never experience a love more powerful in your entire life.